Young midfielder Kobbie Mainoo now finds himself in direct competition with none other than Bruno Fernandes. Back in late August, when Manchester United had just stumbled through their first two Premier League games with one loss and one draw, Mainoo hadn't played a single minute. At that time, manager Rúben Amorim commented, "He has the technical ability, but he needs more pace. He needs to understand the position better. He needs to play at different speeds. Sometimes it's slower, sometimes it's faster, and I think he can improve on that." Fast forward to today, 7 league rounds later, and not much has changed for the English youngster. Amorim has handed him some minutes, yes, but never enough to truly show what he's capable of. Mainoo still hasn't started a single Premier League match this season. His only full 90-minute appearance came in the Carabao Cup against lower league side Grimsby Town. According to local outlets like the Manchester Evening News, Amorim still rates Mainoo highly and genuinely likes the player. He doesn't want to let him leave, mainly because United's midfield is dangerously thin. If Mainoo were to depart, Amorim would be left with just Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Manuel Ugarte as reliable central options for the rest of the campaign. But here's the contradiction. If Amorim truly values Mainoo, why isn't he playing him more often? It's a question that's starting to echo louder among fans and pundits alike. For now, the only one paying the price for this situation seems to be Mainoo himself. Yet, despite everything, the 19-year-old remains impressively positive. During the October international break, while his teammates were either representing their countries or taking time off, Mainoo was in Marbella, Spain, training to maintain his fitness. He even shared a photo on Instagram with a single-word caption, "Blessed." Whether that post reflects his true feelings or not, one thing is certain: time waits for no one. The 2026 World Cup is getting closer by the day, and a talent as promising as Kobbie Mainoo surely doesn't want to watch it from the sidelines. But with his current lack of playing time at Manchester United, catching the eye of England manager Thomas Tuchel could be an uphill battle. Perhaps it's time for Kobbie Mainoo to take control of his own destiny, because right now his chances of shining under Rúben Amorim look slim to none. What he needs is a fresh start, a new environment where he can play, grow, and prove himself on the biggest stages. Rumors have been swirling that Mainoo is eyeing a move to Napoli this coming January transfer window, even if it's just a loan. It makes sense. In Italy, he'd still be competing in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, with the possibility of Champions League football. Plus, seeing former United teammates like Scott McTominay and Rasmus Højlund thriving in Serie A could be a powerful motivation. From a personal perspective, a move away from Old Trafford seems logical. But the big question remains: is Manchester United really ready to part ways with one of their most promising homegrown talents? Some critics argue that Amorim's desire to keep Mainoo is nothing more than an act, a kind of false affection to maintain appearances. But that might be a bit harsh on the Portuguese coach. The reality is simple. United's midfield depth is paper-thin right now. However, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe can bring in a high-quality replacement, Amorim probably wouldn't lose much sleep over Mainoo's departure. Ratcliffe has publicly vowed to give Amorim time and trust, but that also means he needs to deliver the players his manager wants. And right here in England, there's a name that keeps popping up: Adam Wharton of Crystal Palace, a young, dynamic midfielder who's been turning heads across the Premier League. According to the Mirror, Ratcliffe has already approved a budget of £60 to £70 million to land Wharton, confident that such an offer could tempt Palace into selling. So, if Mainoo leaves and Wharton arrives, would that be a smart piece of business for the Red Devils? From a squad management point of view, it actually makes a lot of sense. Letting go of a player who's clearly not in the manager's immediate plans is both reasonable and respectful. It frees up a roster spot while giving Mainoo the chance to rebuild his form and confidence elsewhere. And naturally, when one goes out, another must come in. Wharton, in great form for Palace, could be exactly the kind of solid, dynamic option United's midfield needs right now. From a purely tactical perspective, comparing Adam Wharton and Kobbie Mainoo this season feels a bit unfair. simply because Mainoo hasn't played enough minutes to make it a level comparison. So instead, let's focus on what makes Wharton stand out. Wharton is a technically gifted and remarkably intelligent midfielder, qualities you don't often see in traditional English players who usually rely on power and physicality. Watching him play, you get the sense he's less of an English box-to-box type and more of a Spanish-style metronome, someone in the mold of Xavi Hernandez. His calmness under pressure and smooth press resistance have been key to Crystal Palace's success under Oliver Glasner. With Wharton in the middle, Palace have learned to control the tempo and dictate the rhythm of matches. They don't get dragged into chaos against stronger sides, and they remain composed and balanced against teams on their level or below. His former youth coach at Blackburn Rovers once told the BBC, "Adam's an incredibly smart player. He reads the game brilliantly. He sees things others don't, and that's been part of his game since he was a kid." In many ways, Wharton feels like the missing piece in Manchester United's midfield puzzle. If he were to join, he'd bring a sense of fluidity and elegance that the Red Devils have been craving. Paired with Casemiro's steel, United's midfield could finally strike a perfect balance between grit and grace. Even more importantly, his arrival would free Bruno Fernandes from the burden of dictating tempo, something that's never been his natural strength. With Wharton pulling the strings, United could decide when to speed up or slow the game down, adding moments of calm and control instead of relying on Bruno's frequent long balls that often stretch the team's shape. Of course, Crystal Palace won't let him go easily, but if Sir Jim Ratcliffe really is prepared to put £60 to £70 million on the table and convince Palace chairman Steve Parish, that would actually be a fair price for such a promising young English midfielder. Looking at all three aspects, squad management, tactical fit, and transfer value, on paper, letting Mainoo leave and bringing in Wharton could be a rational, forward-thinking move for Manchester United. Perhaps Manchester United's biggest challenge right now isn't about tactics or transfers. It's about competition. Adam Wharton's stock is rising fast. He's one of the hottest young midfielders in England, and reports even suggest Real Madrid have been keeping tabs on him. And when Los Blancos come calling, you know the allure is almost irresistible. If United truly want Wharton, they'll have to move quickly before the Spanish giants swoop in. But before bringing him in, United must first decide what to do with Kobbie Mainoo. If Wharton arrives, performs well, and helps turn the team's fortunes around, the investment would surely be worth it. Yet, beneath all this optimism lies a lingering ache, one that's deeply emotional for the fans. Because for local supporters, Mainoo isn't just another player. He's a son of Manchester, a boy raised through United's academy, a symbol of hope for the club's future. Wharton, on the other hand, hails from Blackburn Rovers, a club that's been outside the Premier League spotlight for over a decade. On paper, Mainoo's path is far more romantic, a homegrown prodigy fighting for his dream at the club he grew up in. But now it seems that dream is slipping away, replaced by the arrival of an outsider. It feels, in a way, like watching your own child being sent out so someone else can take their place. This isn't just a story about two midfielders. It's a reflection of something bigger, a truth Manchester United fans have been forced to confront in recent years. Homegrown midfielders no longer have a guaranteed place at the Theatre of Dreams. In the past, under Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson, United's heart and soul were built around academy-born legends, Sir Bobby Charlton, Paul Scholes, players who embodied the club's identity. After Ferguson, there was hope that Paul Pogba could carry that torch, but his story ended in disappointment. Now, history seems to be repeating itself with Mainoo, from a beacon of promise to a player struggling for relevance. And it's not just Mainoo's position. Think of Marcus Rashford, Jesse Lingard, Anthony Elanga, all proud products of Carrington. Yet today, how many of them truly stand as pillars of Manchester United? So, what's really going wrong? Has the famed Carrington Academy, once a source of United's lifeblood, lost its touch? Or is it that these young talents still have the quality, but the club's constant managerial turbulence has left them without the stability they need to flourish?